We back up in this thing again. You did? Hey man, we got a special guest online, man. We waiting for our guest to check in right now. Just give us a second. You did? And we'll go from there. Salute everybody that's tuned in. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and of course hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? Show some love. You feel me? Appreciate everybody tapped in. Kareem Johnson, salute, fam. Salute. Y'all go check out Kareem Johnson's page, man. Long shot, great. Aim, don't play yourself. Respect, Eric. What's up, my boy? Respect. Behind the bar 2.0, man. Y'all go subscribe to my boy, man. Salute, man. Salute, fam. Yeah, man. We in the building, man. Yeah, man. We trying to get it in right now. We waiting for our guest to check in on the stream yards so we can get it going. You did on the stream yard. So give us just a second here. You know what I mean? We're a little behind, man, people, but you know what I'm saying? We're gonna get it together. You feel me? At the end of the day, the topics that we're gonna discuss today is gonna have you mind blown. You feel me? It's gonna put you on a whole nother level. So at the end of the day, you having to wait a few minutes. You know what I mean? It's okay. You know what I mean? It's really okay because this information you about to get, it's about to take you to the next level, man. Real talk. So give us a second, all right? Yo, it's Death for the Cloud Chaser TV, man. We back up in this thing again, you dig? Hey, man, we got a special guest online, and it's give us 1 second. Yo, brother, you there? Can you hear me? No, we back live. We live right now, people. We about to get to it. You used all your minutes. Draysky, salute. Monique Hill, salute. Eric, salute. Kareem Johnson, salute. Cosmology Bay, man. Salute, fam. Yeah, we about to get to it, man. We got some topics to discuss. We got some things that's online for you. I am just playing the real shampoo. Salute, fam. Can you hear me, brother? Think it finally just unmuted you. Can you hear me? Brother, can you hear me? Yo, it's Death for the Cloud Chaser TV, man. We back up in this thing again, man. We gonna do it different. You dig? We got him on the phone line, man. We having technical difficulties when it came to this actual program, but we'll figure out that later, man. We ain't gonna let that put us aside to what we got to do. Um, we got a special guest online, man. Can you introduce yourself, brother?
Peace. It's your boy Aseer. Happy holy day to all the Muslims, all the Asiatics all over the world, all the human family. Thanks again for having me on, my brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. We got a few topics we need to talk about today. We definitely appreciate you being on our platform. Like people know with this platform, we try to ask questions other platforms may have missed. And y'all see the title. So with that being said, man, we're gonna start. I want you to, tell the people a little bit more in regards to the bond system and how the bond system work, brother. Because I think that a lot of people are confused. And on this episode, I definitely want to make sure we enlighten some people.
Indeed. Can you Mr. Help me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Everything in the United States is based on a third party obligation. What the United States did when it forced itself on the original inhabitants was one, to accept the foreign way of doing business, and two, to ensure that any business that's ever done in the country has to be done through the United States, which itself is, everybody says a corporation. It has elements of a corporation, but for the most part, it's really a occupational government based on hostile takeover, that uses so-called racism, or what some people erroneously call white supremacy, as a means to stack the decks against anybody of the original blood to come back and take the shit back over. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So in our system, in the Republican form of government, all money has to be enumerated in gold or silver. Period. So money, for that matter, is only gold or silver. Everything else is a derivative or substitute or promise to pay. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Not the obligation, not the ability to just pay straight out. Right? This is an obligation, right? So what they did after they forced themselves, after what we call the Civil War, these different wars and everything happened, forced themselves. Once there wasn't enough indigenous people, enough organized to fight back against it, what they decided to do was take control of all the gold hoards and then rob everybody's ability to pay their own debt. And then supplant that with the evidence of the occupational government's debt in the form of what we call FRNs, or Federal Reserve notes, which are different than silver or gold certificate notes that look the same up until they stop being issued. And then once the United States did that, they then stepped in and use your gold and silver to own something, because if you pay it with that, you really own it. What they wanted you to do was pay money that was connected to the fictitious system, right?
Right.
Which this money, new money now, is in the form of dollars. But when you read the Constitution of the United States, it doesn't really talk about dollars. It talks about enumeration, the promise to pay. It talks about gold and silver being used to pay down all debt. And we, the citizens of the several states, the true republic, the individual or individuals who who descend from the original people who set all of this shit up prior to them coming here, they then took our ability to pay our debts too. So now they have to be in charge as to what's happened. So if anything happens, all debts are sent to the United States. So in a way, the United States is just one big bookie that's basically just paying everybody's debt off, or everybody's paying into to get their debts paid that can never really be paid because nobody's using real money to pay anything. So everybody's using the obligation to pay, which means nothing is being paid. So in a world like that, see, we, according to the original document, only supposed to pay our debts in gold and silver. And then when you read the annexation, the congressional record of the annexation of Texas in 1854, it says that all of the land, all of it, belonged to the ancient Mauritanians, the Moorish peoples, and their Indian associates. The Indian associates now are the niggas that had no skin in the game. These are the invaders from Mongolia and these other places that came over here that we kicked their ass and then put them in what they call reservations, meaning that once they lost the battle coming over here with Jenkins Khan and them in the 13th century, I'll tell you the book, you can read that about it. But once that happened, they created we kicked their ass and then said, well, we ain't gonna put y'all on boats back across the water to Siberia, or back across the Bering Strait to Siberia. So what we're gonna do is let y'all niggas live as like homeless people in wigwams that we call teepees today. Okay? And then y'all can hunt and shit for y'all food in this area, but y'all can't come around the mounds and the cities and the underground cities and the palaces and the fortresses and shit that was already here prior to y'all get here. That's why the Indians, the people they call Native Americans, don't own shit. They lived like squatters. You understand? They lived in little hamlets that we'll call villages or whatever, right? And those villages and hamlets were basically just the place that they could stay, or that we gave them to stay for a certain amount of time. And so once the Paleface came, the Paleface knew that these dudes, they have no connection to the land like that, but he knew that they was salty because, you know, they was still under our jurisdiction. So he went to them and said, look, I'm going to call y'all Indians, and we'll work together to take the land from everybody else. You understand? And so this is why the white man and the Indians started working together, and this is where you get the $5 Indians from. Because they started working with the Mongol influence Indians to basically act as placeholders to keep our land away.
Right. So like, even when you got this type of stuff going on, like the biggest thing involved is money, right? And you know, moving forward, you got some of our great leaders, you know, and one of them, you know, like we call all the time is Martin Luther King. Can you speak on Martin Luther King and his involvement inside the community? Was his involvement inside the community, was it righteous?
Nice. Well, I mean, you know, if you think about it, well, first let me put a bow in the other thing, and it relates directly to this.
Mm-hmm.
So he created. So once these, you know, people work together to displace us, when you read that congressional record, the annexation of Texas, 1845, it basically says that the United States, the Anglo part of the United States, was trying to basically move the rest of the country into a Moorish, Spanish, Mexican, American war, in which the Anglo-Saxons would basically try to come and create a perpetual move to keep us disenfranchised. So, according to the laws, the free white persons were everybody that was not Caucasian. And these were the people who were allowed to be here as naturalized citizens. If they were Caucasian, of the Caucasian race, meaning white males, white females, that they couldn't be over here, according to the law. You can read this in a dictionary called Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Look up the definition for the word free white person, and you'll see what I'm saying. So it means anybody that's not a white man. So what they had to do was create it and flip it so it would apply to them. So the way they did that was by getting those of us to apply the term black to ourselves, because black does not denote a nation or nationality. It denotes a colorable title or colorable system, right? So once that happened, according to that annexation of Texas document, we were supposed to be paid in gold royale. Okay, the royale is equivalent to the gold and the silver dinar. These are Moorish. This is Moorish money that we Moors was always supposed to be paid in, not no U.S. dollars. U.S. dollars didn't really exist like that. What existed was the promissory note that they created to pay. So once they got rid of all of this stuff and figured out how to freak it, what they wanted to do was manifest a position in which they would be able to attach ourselves or themselves to us perpetually. So this is where the bonding birth certificate system came in, because now what they want to do is tabulate all of the chattel property that they have jurisdiction over, i.e. all of the Asiatics, all of the indigenous people, all of the original people that were already here that are now being redesignated and recalled Negro, Black, Colored, Indian, Mexican, whatever, just so that way they can disassociate the true inheritors from the land. So if the inheritors left you a will, and in the will it said, yo, you can get all of this back so long as you maintain your original nationality. That then means that so long as you don't have your original nationality, the people that took it, that is benefiting off of it can continue to do so. And so that's what they needed to do. They had to create different ways in schools to get us to not to forget that we was the original ones running shit here, and that there was a government here prior to 1776, prior to 1791, prior to 1871, that had a so-called black melanated face. And the second class or the third class citizens in that was the white slaves, the WIGHT slave people from Slovenia, right? And so what they did was create a surety system. Remember they talked to you about that 3/5 of a man clause shit?
Right.
That's the surety system in which they said that they were going to count every so-called slave owner. But remember, a slave at this time that this is written is still a white man from Slovenia. So we're still not talking about our own people yet. Our own people could never be slaves because they are genetically not Slovenian. So to apply a Slovakian archetypical demonstration on them is a perpetual misnomer, meaning that it is like me calling a cat a dog and then everybody agreeing that this cat is a dog. You understand?
Right.
You can't do that. So what happened was they had to create laws in schools and shit to force this information on everybody. And that's when everything started going to hell. And so they created the surety system by which now they went and flipped the plantation. So remember Django? Stephen was the nigga cutting the checks in Django. He was the one that really owned the plantation and all of that. He was standing behind Carl Candy, the white man, who was really an old slave, right? Who was descended from the slave part of the family that switched so that way the black side, the Stephen side, could still run shit, but not be looked at as traitors, you see, to the black people that he's still ruling over, but instead he using the white man as the face for it. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And so this created a surety bond between the grantor and the grantee. The grantor's trust would be Stephen. He really runs shit. He really owned it all because his ancestors was basically descended from those blacks that came here with the Spanish and the Portuguese in the 13th, 14th century to take our land from us. Then we kicked their ass so bad over here that they wound up on plantations. But some of them was able to come and flip it. And then in that, they worked with their white soldiers or whatever to help institute this new thing. So the white men, so they have a concept called major minor and minor major. This is an old school slave concept. And in the major minor is the black man, right? He's the major because he's the one with all of the power and the circumstance and the majesty and the benevolence, but he's a minor in his mind because he's been reduced. You see what I'm saying? To believe he's something that he isn't. Therefore, he is controllable. Then the minor major is the white man, WIGHT man, who's really a minor player in this shit, but is holding major weight due to the ignorance, you see what I'm saying, of the original people and how their connection to the land. And so they created the surety system, the bond system, to now always be in a system to have to be able to make money off of you.
Mm-hmm.
So they said, look, this is who you are as a person born. But now that you're born physically, we're going to unmake you and make you be born statistically by taking you and then creating a separate version of you and putting that on a piece of paper. And now we're going to use the piece of paper as that being you. This is why back in the day, they started coming up with the paper shit. Remember the slaves had to show their papers to see if they was free or not?
Mm-hmm.
This is the bond. That was a bond that they were showing, that they were actually bonded and bondholders over their grantorship, which is the original trust that they were supposed to originally be an inheritors of as descendants of the original several states and the original so-called republic connected to the original dominion, which was the old Moorish Empire of North, Central, and South America that was founded all the way back in ancient antiquity. Okay? And so the bond situation became the basis for them to be able to make money. And then from the bond, when you ran out on that, now they could create a system, a perpetual system of murder, so that way they can go and get those people for not fulfilling the bonds. This is where the bounty hunters came in. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And now the bounty hunters was able to go into the Wild West and shoot and kill Moors, right, for bounties and shit, because they was in the North, the white boys were in the North after they took over our office buildings and government buildings and shit, and then set up a little fake government, and then started instituting, paying bounty hunters, going to the names of these roles, finding them these Moors who own land and shit like that, and paying for them to go get killed, saying that they didn't show up to court for this, or that. So a bounty had to be put in, bring them dead or alive, but we'd rather them dead. Because once you kill them and you bring the body in, now we can use that bond to take over their land. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because we can change everything from a allodial title, which is perpetual ownership of the land to your indigenous inheritance, to title, colorable title, where everything is just based upon the promise to pay. You see? So he took you out of the republic and then started to try you as a criminal in the democracy. Okay? And so the bond system, that is when the Wild Wild West started. You see? Because now they're trying to go into the place where we own the most land and shit and kill us and get us involved in all this gunfighting and shit and blow up and rob all of the banks. That's what the Wild West was about. All of these white devil criminals running up into the western territories in which we owned, right? And started robbing and shooting and killing people, taking over the land, setting up race riots, doing all of this bullshit, and then using the black descended Africans, right, who were back in the days slaves of the Portuguese, Alfonso, who came over here that we had then put in the plantation. And then when the white boys came to the West and started to see these ones, well, they said, look, they already down with our system, so we want to free them and put them over the ones that's fighting back. The ones that was fighting back was the ones, us, the Moors that was already here. That's now fighting against being called Indian, fighting against being called Negro, fighting against being called Christian, fighting against being called Black, fighting against being called a surety, 14th Amendment citizen. They're coming and dismantling our natural born government. The cracker wants you to believe when they came here, no, nothing was here. Everything that you see here now was here then. They just added on and got those of us that was more connected to them to help them displace the rest of us. And that's what happened. That's where the Buffalo Soldiers came from. These is fucking sellouts. These is Indian Moors. These is Moors who are willing to accept the term Indian and then go on behalf of the United States to then go take land from the rest of their people that wasn't down with the shit. Just like the Tuskegee Airmen, fucking traitors. traitors again. How are they for black people when the Tuskegee experiment was they're putting syphilis in black people, mind controlling them, and monitoring them for generations? That was the plan, to monitor them for generations, to see how the dirty shit they put in them would manifest in them. This is why these niggas were so prone to go and fight for a devil that hated them. Just like your man Michael King. This nigga's name was Michael. That's not even his real name. Martin wasn't even his real name. His name was Michael King. He changed his name to Martin when he was going into the ritual, because he now had to adopt. Like when you become Pope, when you become Pope, you got to adopt a new name. You see what I'm saying? You got to take the name of an old Pope. So when Michael decided he was going to, take the role, he became Martin, because now he wants to follow the old moral Martin Luther, the reformist. Because Martin Luther, the old European who created Lutheranism, that was a black man. All of these niggas that we think was white was black, but they happen to be European. And those European blacks had the tendency to use their slaves to do their work for them. And their goal was to bring their way of doing business over here and getting us to adopt that. And that's what they did. To the point now, we all born with English names. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But Michael started out as a insecure boy. He witnessed his brother jump out. Something was happening, or he had some sort of illness, and shit got real hectic in his house. And something happened, and his brother literally jumped out the window and killed himself. At least that's the story. And they said it psychologically damaged him. And so he had a pretended. They said he had a preponderance. This is Martin King. He had a preponderance to go out there and do things to get people to be into him. This is a psychological evaluation. Now, I don't know the man. This is just from mad books I done read about this nigga and shit that I done researched and stuff. So, long story short, he was very smart, but he wasn't like brilliant, you know what I'm saying? But he had a very good oratory voice. And so very early on, the people that he was involved with, his father and them type of people, they knew that this dude was somewhat special and that they could do stuff with him or for him. And so they got him in the seminary school. Once they got him in seminary, that's when he really started, that's when he met his first couple of white people, and they started really going in on him. And then he developed this whole thing for white women. So the story is, only thing a black woman could do for Martin King is tell him where the white woman was at.
Right.
That's how much he liked them. They said that the day of the Nobel Peace Prize, the night before, he was in Stockholm or whatever. He got the police called on him, and they was gonna arrest him because he was boning some white women in the room. And then when she didn't want to do it no more, whatever, she ran out the room. He ran after her, butt naked in the hall. You know what I'm saying? They say this is the night before the Nobel Peace Prize thing. So he already had these issues. Plus, he was a Christian, and I told you, all the black Christians are descended from those old school traders that adopted or were forced into the Christianity and then became soldiers in the Union Army, which was the army for white supremacy. Okay? So all black Christians are white supremacists. All of them. Okay? Because black folk, the Christianity that black folks supposed to be dealing with, if they was really dealing with it, they would be Muslims. But they not. You know what I'm saying? They're following the Roman Christian thing. So they wonder why they get Roman punishment.
So let me ask you a question though, like going back to MLK, right? Like you talked about the white women, and like today, what we'll see is that these same white women who he was behind the scenes messing with is the same white women who has been on like these campaigns for the past 20 years against the black man on how, we don't like to protect our women and we leave them in result of what we going off of what Malcolm say, if you would have me, meaning that we trying to keep it peace when they tell us that our families ain't going to be able to eat. If a man is in the household and the man knows that he's only making pennies on the dollar, what is he to do? Stay in the household and watch his kids not eat? Like these are some of the things that now that
No,
we
what was
able
supposed to
to.
happen? What was supposed to happen was the community was supposed to get together as it did before integration. Before integration, to band together and do what they was doing. See, we still have flourishing communities. Remember Black Wall Street and Rosewood and all that? We have flourishing communities that was ancient. Like that whole walk Trail of Tears, the people in the Trail of Tears was the original Moors. And where did the Trail of Tears end? Oklahoma, right there in Tulsa. You see? So the people that walked the Trail of Tears was the same original Moors that was always there. They just had to move back home after the situation happened. And we thrived so much in that the crackers had to do away with all of that. You see what I'm saying? So anytime there was a thriving community, anytime something was popping, we had to protect ourselves because these crackers would come in and destroy it all because they had nothing. Because remember, these are straight white idiots who are creating eugenics and fake sciences to seem smart to justify the fact that they actually don't come from nowhere and they had no basis in world history. The world history that they were a part of is wherever we was going and stick them on one another. So they're not even really from Europe. You understand what I'm saying? They're really from nowhere. They are only here because we're keeping them here. And so going back to Michael King, once they saw that he was malleable, they needed to get rid of this nigga named Vernon Johns. Vernon Johns was the real Martin Luther King. He was the precursor to him. He was like the John the Baptist to Michael. But he wasn't playing. He wasn't on that nonviolence. He would show up to the spot with guns. He would show up to the church with guns. He would send the children to school with guns. He was not playing. You understand? So they knew that they wasn't going to be able to take over the South with niggas like him there. So they needed a soft shoe. So in walked King. But before they brought him to that, they had to tool him up. So they already knew that he was malleable. They already knew that he was that. They already knew he had a thing with white people. So they sent him to the seminary school. I forget the name of it, but they also had a summer program connected to it. And at that summer program, that was really a front for the Communist Party. And in there, he met a Jew named Stevenson or Levinson, one of these Jew names. I forget his name. And Levinson or Jewison, one, but they formed a joint, and that's when King became a communist. Okay? And then they got pictures of him. You can type it up. Martin Luther King at communist meeting. This shit will come right up. This is public knowledge. So as a communist, you see what I'm saying? He is against any form of original republicanism, which was the original aspect. Now, I'm not talking about Democrat Republic. I'm talking about the original republic, our shit. This Democrat Republican thing, that was created in the fiction in the United States. So anything created in the United States is an agreed upon fiction. Anything outside or prior to the United States is the real shit. Okay? So he became a part of that Communist Party. And in that Communist Party, he began to use the communist values to instill and put black people on that shit. When we worked together, but it wasn't like we gave up all our money and each as individuals, we didn't have nothing. That's not how we worked. We followed the old aspects of the empire. We all chipped in together and then received the reward, but we were all still able to maintain our own property. You understand?
Right.
Integrationism was what they used to get black people to start to accept communism, because that was a way for them to now go from depending on themselves to depending on the state. You see?
Right.
And who was pushing that? Thurgood Marshall, Boule. See what I'm saying? Who was pushing that? What's his name? Thurgood Marshall. Martin King. Who's the other one? Edward Minton, the nigga who started the Sigma Phi Rho and the AKAs and all these things. These Boule niggas, the Talented 10, the NAACP, which was founded by W.B. Du Bois, W.B. Du Bois, Ida B. Wells, Stephen Rosenblatt, Mr. Rosenberg, and everybody else was Jewish. Okay? This is why Ida B. Wells knew who was going to get lynched so quick. Posse in New York And as soon as somebody get lynched in the South, she knew exactly what happened, and it wasn't no damn phone, and it wasn't no damn internet.
Right.
Because the people that they was lynching was landowners, was doctors, was emperors, was kings, was princes here in America. But they just tell you, oh, these were slaves they just picked up. These just some niggas they just picked up and hung and burned and shit. And we just think that's it. No, these were the presidents of the original republic in these pictures. These is landowners. That's why as soon as somebody got lynched, their land was taken. They wasn't just killing niggas just because they hate them because they black. Yeah, that's part of it. But this is about a land grab. This is about turning the blacks that was left into surety bonds. And then we can create a sharecropping system. So that way we can't own the land, but we can use their body, and because their body is on the land, we can own the land through them. And this has been a system that black people been supporting ever since. Wonder why they don't have nothing. Wonder why everybody else in the world come here and disrespect them. Because they made us exiles in our own land, just like this nigga Martin Luther King said. It wasn't until the end he started to see the error of his ways. Go back and look at that speech that he gave, the I Have a Dream speech on the Washington lawn. What you're going to see is a bunch of niggas around him wearing low white fezzes. Nobody ever asked who them niggas was. That was the auxiliary of Prince Hall niggas that was trying to defect from his shit into the Nation of Islam, into the Muslim demonstration. That's when you see because he wound up finally speaking to Elijah Muhammad. And Elijah Muhammad, peace be upon him, put him on. Because he wasn't going to listen to Malcolm. Because that's his contemporary. But once he went and saw Elijah Muhammad, and Elijah Muhammad started talking to him about Noble Jew Ali and everything else, that's when everything switched. That's when it became about, that's when it went about being about black rights and started being about what? Human rights. Right?
Right.
It stopped being about let's start marching, and it started being about let's start boycotting by keeping our money. Remember?
Yeah.
Then what happened? As soon as that shit started, what happened? He got outed. They popped him.
Yeah.
Hoover, who was another black man, another dirty Moor, because he was a Moor. He was King's handler. And when King started to break away, he wrote a letter to him, blackmailing him, getting him to he wrote him a blackmail letter that was basically a trigger letter to trigger him to kill himself. It's on file. You can check it right now. Matter of fact, the United States, look it up.
And you speaking on Larry Hoover?
I'm speaking on J. Edgar Hoover.
J. Edgar Hoover.
J. Edgar Hoover, the nigga they said is white, that was really a black man who was a self-hating homosexual as well as transvestite, but he was also practicing Moorish science in secret. And because he was great friends with A. Philip Randolph, another black boule nigga, they worked together. A. Philip Randolph, J. Edgar Hoover, W.E.B. Du Bois, Ida B. Wells, Madam C.J. Walker, all of these boule niggas was working with the man to disassociate everybody from the land. Okay? And so Hoover, when he saw that he couldn't get King to kill himself, he went the other route. He then came out and then said, well, we need to put something down to get rid of all potential. We don't want any more Noble Jew Alis rising up. So we are going to stop the rise of the Black Messiah. Okay? Now, Messiah, the Christians believe that's Jesus. But when you read the real Bible, the Geneva Bible, or the Keber Nagath, or the Apocrypha, right? You will read about where it talks about the people raising up and waking up to a better understanding of themselves, and the people being the body, and the body being the Messiah. Okay. They created a perpetual way to keep everybody under. So the Messiah is really talking about a group of people born in the last days who would do what they needed to do to raise up the people for the people, but they don't know how to disassociate that from the dogma they were given, because the Christian preachers that gave them that dogma are the same ones that have been working with them for the past 200 plus years to keep them outside of their natural self. And so every hero that they picked up to us, right, that was there, that they was going to basically big up and give power and props to, most likely he worked with them, whether it be Frederick Douglass, whether it be Harriet Tubman, whether it be whoever. They're not going to give us nobody that was really down for us and was going to create a way for us to be here without them. Nice.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? They're not going to do it because they can't exist without us. See, we don't need them to live. They need us to live the way a parasite needs, the way that little shark swims with the other shark, swims on the back of the other shark, and then whatever little scraps that he rip off or whatever, he eats, and that's how he eats. That's them. They are a perpetual parasitic race. They only subsist and exist on the extinguishing and the submission of other people, other races, because they are perpetually xenophobic, because they spent their initial habitation and incubation in harsh conditions that basically turn them into perpetual xenophobic savages. But they try to hide it through a form of civilized barbarity. Okay? So you can't rape somebody, but if you see this, this man should not rape your child. But if this man rapes your child and you find him and you kill this man for raping your child, then you could go to jail. That's some bullshit. That's not justice. That says, this is why whenever you see stories about racists and killers and serial killers, they always bigging them up. How many fucking documentaries we gonna see on Ted Bundy? How many documentaries we gonna see on the Nazis? How many documentaries you gonna see about Charles Manson or any one of these damn serial killers? Why are you niggas so caught up and so thing? How many books you done read about Jack the Ripper? Why is it everything that these niggas deal with is so perpetually based on murder that there's nothing divine or divinity about it? You know what I'm saying? So they created a perpetual wave of disunity amongst us by breeding into our people. You see what I'm saying? And then created a perpetual waste now where they now can always benefit off of us, because anything we do, we're going to go and check with them first. Do you know any other race that do that? Do the Chinese people, does China ask America when it wants to go and fucking organ harvest over 250,000 people of its own citizens because they Muslim, cut out their organs and shit, and then sell them to people in the United States? No, they just do it. You see what I'm saying? Right. The only people in the world that ask permission to do shit is African or melanated people. Everybody else do that.
Absolutely.
It's because there's no such thing as an African person. When the people in Africa are in Africa, they don't call themselves African. They call themselves Somalians or Sudanese or Congolese or Nigerian or whatever. And most of those African nations were all named by white people when they was leaving. Most of the African nations, upon that era, remember, these niggas just got free in the 60s. Think about that shit. That's not a long time ago.
Right.
They just got free, and they not, because when they left, all the 64 African nations paid into a trust called the perpetuation for the continuation of colonialism. And each one of these African nations, 64 of them, paid about 25 to 35% of their national GDP representation of original people over the past 243 years. Is anybody going to shut France down? No. You know what I'm saying? But France got the nerve to want to ban the hijab. You see, that's why they burning that place to the ground. That shit is a shithole. They're about to get rid of France too. It's already started with Britain leaving. Britain have left the Brexit, and they gangster. These are niggas that set the shit up. And they say, you know what? Y'all keep paying for this shit. I'm out. So now, in another 10 years, you're not going to have no England the way that you have it now. It ain't going to be perpetually Christian. That Christian England shit is dead now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because based upon the migration, they've projected that England is basically going to be 90% Muslim in about 5 years. So that's all them white people that's been in there, all of them white Freemasons, all of these niggas that's been fighting the Moors and fighting the Muslims and all that shit or whatever, they're about to see that develop. So where do you think all them crackers, the ones that don't die from the extinction, the ones that don't die from the low birth rates, the ones that don't die from the melanoma, where do you think they're going to go? They're going to come over here. Where they been? How their ancestors used to do. That's what I'm saying. When shit got hot over there, they would just come over here. From ancient times, we was doing that.
So you don't think they're avoiding, you don't think people from other countries, because I've been seeing a lot of people with saying, like, you know, they own movements on, we need to get back to Africa. So you thinking that it's a lot of people that's pretty much still wanting to come to the United States for some sort of freedom?
Yeah, I think the cracker know when he say Africa, he's talking about Earth. When the Moors say Africa, we're really only talking about Libya. Because Africa was named by Moors, by Latin speakers. There are no Latin-speaking tribes in Africa today. So if that's the case, that's like you being a so-called black man, right? And then I say that you're Spanish now, right?
Right.
You're gonna be black until you're not Spanish. But once I get you to acknowledge something and you accept it, then that becomes the law. That becomes the reality. You did?
Right.
And so if you have a name for your people and you decide to not call your people that, you want to call them what I choose to call them, that means I run you and your people. It's simple. It's simple. Dogs don't name themselves, do they? Cats don't name themselves, do they? Cars don't name themselves, do they? Men do that. Right. You see? So it's really about what you choose to be called. Well, black folks don't put themselves in the position to learn or to establish an idea outside of what somebody else told them idea should be.
So let me ask you a question. Like the chat right now, you know what I'm saying? They pretty much going crazy in regards to, you know, the white reference and, you know, these different subjects and these different words that's used. Can you like break down the difference between the word white and black for me? If you could start with white.
Yes. First of all, the term black, right?
Right.
Everybody wants to get into being black. Oh, I'm black. I mean, this is blacker than this. The term black is German. The word black comes from black or black or black or black. Okay? That's a German word. So if you're a black person, you're saying, and you're deciding, okay, I'm black. I'm saying I'm black. That means that you, again, are using another nation to define yourself. You understand? Because you're using a German word. So when the Germans was dealing with people with no nationality, meaning those Moors who had been denationalized, who had been taken over, or was just straight on some like piratism stuff or whatever, they would label them as bleak, because they had no nationality, no flag. You see what I'm saying? Nobody to that represented them. They was just out for dolo, for self, for nothing. You see? And those people were seen as brigands. A brigand was somebody with no nation that would just come and rob you. Who that sound like?
Right.
It sounds like these people. want to be a African, like I said, that is a word developed by the Carthaginians, a people with a nationality. You and I are ancient Carthaginians, or can be considered ancient Carthaginians, because we are descended from the ancient Moors, from the Moors. And the Moors were descended, again, from the ancient Carthaginians, the ancient Canaanites, the ancient Moabites, the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Phoenicians. You understand what I'm saying? It keeps going back. We don't deal with no modern bullshit. All this modern shit is why everything is messed up. Because everybody got... Because everybody got a view of themselves because they watching themselves through somebody else. We are all looking at our lives through the eyes of a goddamn caveman. And we wondering why shit look blurry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we're constantly using words that he done created to identify ourselves and wonder why we're in a perpetual quagmire. Because this nigga uses words as spells. That's why they call them spelling bees. You understand? When you cast a spell on somebody, that's a form of sorcery. Right? The root word of sorcery is what? Source. Right? And so when you outsource or resource or insource something, you are taking the resource for yourself. And we are the greatest resource that this universe has ever seen. And he is, so everything you see this nigga doing to the planet, he done to us. So because everybody else in the world let this nigga do what he did to us, or we let it happen to ourselves, now it's happening to everybody else in the world. You see what I'm saying? Because the Chinese and the blacks and the Africans and the rest of these niggas sat by and basically all benefited off of the destruction of our empire, off of the dissolution and the diaspora of our people, right? And the forced absorption of our people into these foreign nationalities that had nothing to do with us. They benefited off of everything. We built up their countries, treat us like second-class citizens and shit, and now what's happening? It's happening to them. Because the Mexicans sat there and watched that shit happen to us because they was fucking still salty that we kicked their ass back in the day. Now it's happening to them. It's good for them. You understand? The Jews are still bombing Palestinians. You understand?
Right.
Are they doing anything to stop that? No, but the Palestinians they bombing is Asiatics. They look just like us. That's what we don't get. The people going through the genocide in West Papua New Guinea, Asiatics look just like us. The Moro people going through the shit in the Philippines, Asiatics going catching hell just like us. The Khoisan, the original people of Azania, or what we want to call South America, South Africa, they labeled as colored by black people, by the Zulus. They own, you know what I'm saying? Black people label these niggas as colored in a black society. Think about that shit. But then they worried about the white farmers, kicking the white farmers out. That's all smokescreen shit. The real threat to them is the San people, the Khoisan and them people, because them people been there forever, before the Zulus, before the British, before everybody. And these is light-skinned black people that was perpetually light-skinned without the admixture of no white people. So that shatters that myth. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Of you need a white man to be light-skinned. No, that's more bullshit. Because those light-skinned people that's made with white folk is different than the light-skinned people that's made just with black folk. Facts. It's not racism, it's facts. Black women, when you have babies with a white man, there's a what is this thing called? It's like a pill or something that you got to take in order for you not to abort the white man fetus. This is real shit. Look it up. But they don't even tell black women about it. They just say, oh, well, you just got to come in for OBGYN or some whatever. And you know, black women, they don't know. They just go, whatever. But no, if you want to have this your womb is the womb of creation. So anything that is there to negate creation has to be vetted by it. And if it don't hold up to the original snuff, it gets rid of it. Because that's how the body works. Like if you eat a grape, right? Your body don't digest the grape. No, excuse me. If you eat a raisin, right? Your body don't digest the raisin. Your body is digesting a grape. means that your body turns the raisin back into a grape before it eats it. It digests it. Think about that. So you mean to tell me if you're perpetually of one sociological and one physiological identity, and then you choose to downgrade that, right, by hooking up with a recessive identity, you can't get mad when these children come out confused and don't feel like that they're full people. Because you perpetuated that. If you a so-called black man and you a so-called white woman, and y'all both, you believe you black and you believe, and she believes she white, and she believes her ancestors used to enslave you, you are perpetuating white supremacy. You are. Especially the niggas that was marching with King and all these type of niggas, because all them people, you talk all of that stuff, but the integration wasn't to make black people better. That was to give white folk more time on the planet, more time to put their foot in your ass. You see? So again, if black folks is black, but black is a German word, if black folks is African, but African is a Latin word, and there's no Latin speakers in Africa, then that's why Africans don't refer to themselves as that. So what are African Americans doing? Who are they? What are they saying? What are they returning to when they go back there if they was never from there? See, the ones that's returning, to me, is the ones that's descended from the original ones that came over with the invasion in the late 12th to 13th century with the Portuguese and them trying to take our land. And these are the perpetual slaves that we kicked their ass and put them in what became the slave system in the South. So they, again, were traitors. These is niggas trying, if niggas try to invade your house right now, niggas try to break in your house right now, are you going to make them citizens in your house?
Hell no.
No, you're not. You're going to kick their ass and kick them out your house.
Right.
Which is what we tried to do. But then you had half of us that, again, were descended from those that helped kick these people out and keep them away from us, and then owned these slaves on their plantation. That's why Harriet Tubman was a slave, but Mr. Tubman was free. Because Mr. Tubman descended from the people who was on the land, and Harriet descended from the niggas that came over here to convert everybody to Christianity on behalf of the Portuguese. I don't even think that was, I think Araminta, which was, they say was her real name, that was the original wife, and this chick Harriet, whoever she was, basically just took over, adopted her personality. Because when she left Mr. Tubman, so long as she was with Mr. Tubman, she was free. If any Moors call her outside of that, she would be put back to POW because that was the law. That's what we did to these niggas that tried to come and take our house. And so what she did, she became a spy, right, for the foreign black, white Europeans who was already establishing a power base out of the East Coast, and started to work with them to come into our lands, right, in the South and the West, and convince those native-born Moors or those slaves, again, the descendants of the ones that was put on there for their hostility against us 150 years earlier, started to preach to them and told them that they could come and be free with her. And so the more she did this, the more she smuggled these people out, the more props she got, and that's how she became a general. But she was bringing these people out of the frying pan and putting them into the fire. Because once she brought them north, now they became U.S. citizens, and U.S. citizens is what? Surety bonds, slaves, right?
Right.
And now they can get weapons, and now they can go and take the land from the original people that locked them up for trying to take that land. Then once that happened, and they came through, took all of that, now they come up with Reconstruction and create a whole new history saying that there was nobody here. So now the history of the foreign blacks becomes our history. And now we get put on the same level as them. You understand?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what people need to, they need to realize that. They need to realize that.
They worked it out totally. And the blacks and the whites been working hand in hand to make this shit happen. They've been giving us this false doctrine, this false thing. You mean to tell me you know all of this about you know about King Tut, you know about Ramses, you know about You know about all that. Okay, what about Pakal Bhutan? See, crickets. What about El Camino? Crickets. What about Montezuma L? Crickets. What about the Chicamacha? What about the Panahasawa? What about that? That shit is more connected to you than all of that Egypt shit.
Right.
But to know about that type of stuff I just mentioned, you know where you got to go? You got to go to places like Germany. You got to go to places like England. You got to go to places like Morocco, because that's what they got in all the books. All the statues. They got statues of us as indigenous Moorish Americans over there in Germany to this day. Black as all hell, with war bonnets and tobacco and fezzes and turbans and all of that. That's why in Django, the white guy, Dutch Schultz, right, was from Germany. And when he was in the cave, he was talking to Django, and he realized, oh shit, the story of Brunhilde and Hans is being played out in front of me. And what did he say? He said, by my honor, I am nobly bound to help you. In the movie, the white man saying that. Was the black people helping him do that? No. Because, again, these crackers know. Everybody know. But you and me. They want you to believe that you everything. You could be a slice of bread before you be a Moor. Before you claim your real nationality. They would rather you put on a dress. They would rather you turn your penis into a vagina than put a turban on. You understand? So it must be something to the shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It must be something to the shit if they're willing to get every and anybody else to be everything else but that. But again, these Negroes, they want to be everything else but what they naturally are. Because it's easier to live a life and have somebody tell you what to do. It's easier to put on an apron and to wear another man's name on your hat and make secret meetings and shit and give each other little hand grips and grab each other's balls and shit than to actually sit down and have to stand up for your man, for your nation. It's easier to join the army than set up the revolution. You understand? That's where these niggas is at. They do not want to let this white man go. This WGHT white man go. WIGHT white means, again, a creature, a phantasm, a perpetual criminal, someone born into perpetual savagery, a ghost, an apparition, something that does not exist. White, the WHITE, right? That is something pure, something that exists, something reverent, something that deserves respect. All they did was switch the writing. And they got a dumb nigga like Dred Scott, who was free. When he left, he went on a trip with his master, Mr. Sanford. He was free. He could have just left. No, he wanted to be a good nigga and show his master that he respected him still. Even though he could have been free and left, he still wanted to be there. What did the master do? Take him to court anyway. Then when he tried to get free, what did the white man say? He said that you were slave out your own mouth. Therefore, you have no rights that I, as a white man, are bound to respect. That's the law. They done flipped the law on it, and they used that then to eventually set up the sacking of our national infrastructure. You gotta understand, the first U.S. city to be attacked and bombed from the air was white people doing that to us. The first attack, the first mainland attack on a in modern era was done by white people doing that to black people because it's our land. This is America belongs to us. The United States is theirs. And because they are perpetually broke, they do everything under color of title. So to have a color of title is different than having a proper title or a allodial title. They done took that out of the lexicon. When you bring up allodial, go down to the county to file for shit to bring up the word allodial, they look at you like you crazy.
Right.
You know the law to the letter. And these crackers will still find a nigga to help work with them against you. And the nigga know you right. He know that you right, but he will still uphold the shit that they told him to do.
Yeah.
So when you look at somebody like a Jay-Z, right, who creates a movement or whatever they're trying to say or whatever, trying to make this thing. Now all of a sudden this nigga do election, right? All of a sudden now this nigga barely talk. Now he out here trying to do lectures, trying to look smart, trying to look smart. Can't form one thought without stuttering, right? Used to deny interviews because he wasn't thoroughly media trained. Now this nigga wants to be a prison activist. Why? Because he wanted to put y'all niggas right back in the prison, in the rap. He wanted to put y'all right back in the trick bag. Why? Because what he's talking about is prison reform. You can't reform these prisons. They're privately owned.
Facts.
You want to reform stuff that belong to somebody else.
That belongs to somebody else that has their own corporate structure.
See how he's lying. I'm just talking about how people will sit there at the feet of a liar and just suck it up because they like reasonable doubt. You know what I'm saying? Niggas, you don't got to do nothing to oppress niggas. You just got to have a little bit of money. And these niggas will soft shoe you into whatever. They'll justify whatever. Well, yeah, he broke the NFL thing, but he playing chess, not checkers. Any nigga that say that, sell out. Sell out. Why? Because I hate Jay-Z? No. I'm totally indifferent to the nigga, like all of them, because I look at all of them as agents. I don't look at any one of them as an individual thinker, because they're not. You cannot think individually around them people and maintain your status quo without getting sacrificed. Are you crazy? That's how Rome works. They're not going to change the rules of Rome for you, nigga. No, you either get down or you lay down. That's what Rome is mob rule. If the mob say it's cool, that's what it is. Okay? Carthage was the republic. Carthage was the true democracy, okay? We was the ones creating all of the stuff that Rome inherited and thus far still don't. Moors did that. Those were Moors. Those were not African. Those were not, you know what I'm saying? Those the Africa, like I said, in order for you to be African, when that term was used, you had to be of Carthage, which means then you had to be a Phoenician, which means then you had to be a Moabite, which means then you had to be a Canaanite, which then means in ancient times you were Mauritanian, which then means you are Moor today. And what niggas hate is that we can trace our shit all the way back to that. Ask a black man, ask a black woman what nation they come from. They're going to look at you like you're stupid. But ask them where a China man comes from. Ask them where a Chinese man comes from. Ask them where a Polish man comes from. Ask them where a Puerto Rican man comes from. So you mean to tell me everybody else in the world got a name for their place but you do? And somehow or another you think you win it? Or I'm crazy? Because something wrong with me? Because I could walk around with a feather turban and tell this white man he ain't shit to his face and he accept it because he see what the deal is? Something wrong with me? Because I don't want to be labeled under a German term? Under a German term? No, I'm not German.
Let me ask you a question. So how does like, you know, we spoke on MLK earlier, but like how does Jesse Jackson fits into all this? Like what type of propaganda and agenda was, you know what I'm saying, necessary for what things that he do?
All of these sellouts to me all have the same traits. They all joined up with some sort of Freemasonic order. That's what they all got in common. Real talk. And so to me, that's the tie that's the cable tow that binds them up. That's the choke around their testicles that turns them into eunuchs. That's what it is. They all join up with that shit, and because it's all European based, it's satanic.
But what do they get out of it? Like, because that's what a lot of people they might hear, like you know, you speak on these different people, and they might say like, well, what does they get out of it by selling out their people? What was their
What you
reward?
need? Money. Money. Again, they get to have their debt look a little bit more than yours, but they more in debt than you. Because they gotta toe that line. They gotta do what these niggas say now. You know how much of a slave somebody like Nas is? Look at this. Nas, one of the greatest rappers in the world, he gotta sit there and support this homosexual little Nas X. So he's a little version of this Nas, right? With a little bit of so-called X, throwing us back to the number 10, but also bringing the evoking Malcolm into it. And this nigga's a straight queer. And Nas do a record with this nigga. But see, Nas is the Virgo type nigga who get off on people who stress him. That's how him and Jay-Z got cool. Like me and Jay-Z could have never been cool once you told me that you boned my baby moms and left your condoms on my baby seat.
Right.
That was it. We'd have never been cool after that. So that's what made me know that nigga is something wrong with that nigga. He might be a tranny, or there might be something else going on with him. Okay? Because no man is going to sit there and do that. Then after Eva, that was it. Nas won. Jay-Z was over. He still is over. So what did Jay-Z do? He a Sag. He's Sag in the Virgo. So now it's astrology. So now he got to think, damn, what can I do to recover from this? I got to make it so this record is never played again. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna be friend with this nigga because we both still in the lodge, and we gonna get cool. And then it's gonna get to a point now we get so cool that if he do the song, then it would be like, damn, this nigga trying to start beef again, and then I'll look like the hero. See what I'm saying? That's not checkers. And Nas, ego-driven ass, he looking at it like, oh yeah, this nigga stressing me. You want to be cool? He know, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. It's just money. That's how these niggas are. That's how they think. Any man that will do anything for money cannot be trusted. Listen to these lyrics, what these niggas will say that they'll do to you for money. Think about it. Listen to them. They talk about raping your mother. They talk about blowing up your car. They talk about shooting you. They talk about stealing from you. Talk about throwing money in your face. You ain't shit. We've been listening to that for the past 20 years. So what, these niggas just rap like that and they don't really think like that? Fuck out of here, man. That's how they all think. So again, this nigga Nas will go and do a record with his replacement. This Grammy this year was all about the effeminate gay rapper being raised to the height of the mainstream rapper to show the world, look, we finally got rid of the heterosexual hardcore rap niggas. We got a whole bunch of bitches now. We got Tyler and his little pink shit. He's gay. Then we got Little Nas. He's gay. Then we got Sway. He's probably gay. And we got him. He's gay. Again, it's not about the gay thing. It's about the fact that gayness, homosexuality, is used as a weapon against black men. I don't give a fuck how supportive a black woman is, the so-called black woman is, for gay rights or this or that. You do not want your son being raised like that. And if you do, something wrong with you. You bought it. These African nations that Trump just banned to America all have one thing in common. They're not fucking with that homosexual shit. That's what it is. They are not trying to allow their people to be weaponized into becoming homosexual degenerates. So again, I'm not calling homosexuals degenerates. I'm talking about the weaponized homosexuals that are used to degenerate the natural heterosexuality of melanated people, because that's not our culture, Degena. This bitch ass nigga, this other nigga, Jadena, this nigga that walked with the human hand puppet, Janelle Monáe.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
This
and
nigga
like
trying to justify homosexual in Africa.
Wow. Is that that's what's on his agenda now? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what he just did. He did a whole interview on that. Right after Malik Yoba came out talking about if you Tank came out talking about if you suck a dick, you're not gay. This is what they doing to young men. Then right after that, that's when Malik Yoba got outed with that situation. Then right after that, that's when Obama came out with the toxic masculinity shit. There was Steph Curry. Right after that, Steph Curry got emasculated by his female, by his girl. Remember that shit happened. Then right after that, that's when the shit happened with what's his name? The other homo thing that they came out with. I just had it. So it's a sequence of events. Because the threat to white supremacy is the heterosexual black male with knowledge of himself. One of us with knowledge of ourselves can do away with this entire society, and they know it.
Right.
So what do? They get our own people who have been mixed in with foreign people that look like us to hate on us. That's why if you're the one in your family that agrees with the shit that I'm talking about, and everybody else in your family ain't, you're the one that descend from the original ones, and the other ones is the ones that's descending from the ones that helped put us in the trick bag in the first place. We both have the angels and the demons in our family at the same time. That's why these generational curses be happening to us. That's why at a certain age, your moms just start hating on you. Certain age, your dad just start hating on you. Because you are going against what it is that they have fought for. And they have fought to be slaves. They have fought to be the opposite of what they are. If they are Christian, he's a slave. If he's a Greek, he's a slave. If he's a Arab, a red beard dying Muslim, he's most likely a slave. Because man, this is an old Moorish quote, and it says, man becomes the food for the divinity he worships. And that's what has happened. There's enough religion in the world to get everybody to kill each other, but not enough to make them love. So that means religion is another form of white supremacy. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
All of it is white supremacy. We're supporting white supremacy by having to use the fucking phone to do this interview.
Internet, YouTube.
So stop acting like, oh well, I'm better because I don't eat meat. I don't do this, or hey, I'm better than you because I only, I don't eat cow. Yeah, but you wearing a fucking cow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Shakespeare had a quote. He says, "Methinks thou dost protest too much," and that's what it is. When these niggas be constantly perpetuating how great they are, it's so great that Jay-Z is doing these lectures at Columbia University. But wait, Columbia, that's the goddess that they all worship, ain't it? That's another version. That's the feminine version of Attis, ain't it? So of course he would do something at Columbia University. But that ain't nothing new. I don't lecture at Long Island, University. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying that lecturing is not the thing. What I'm saying is lecturing is not the thing. What I'm saying is that lecturing was the thing for our community. So because they got to get our people to focus more on these people, they got to create a situation to stop our own people from supporting our own lectures and start going to that shit. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because in our lectures, we get shit done. His lectures, you just go sit there and be starstruck. That's all it is. Ain't nobody gonna ask this thing no real questions. Come on, man. Ain't no black people in there gonna ask this thing no real questions. They not gonna do that. Exactly. They screen these niggas before they. Thank you, Queen. My queen said they flag these niggas before they even come to the room. Unless you're on the list. Yeah. Yeah, they all scanned up, man. All of this is run by the script. That's a scam. That's called a scam. It's not like Jenkins has friends in jail. Right. Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, that's what's funny thing he said. I was watching this shit and the nigga said how he still got his street homies calling him from the joint, talking, hey, you could do this and that. Ain't no nigga from prison calling Jay-Z, nigga. Nobody from niggas that know him don't even got his own number. He is not taking no calls from prison. Like, come on. Come on, bro. If that's the case, then why not just buy Marcy? Why not buy the whole shit from the Ingersolls? I know exactly who own it. The Ingersolls, the same niggas that own LG. The Jews. Why don't you go and buy it from them? You so cool with them. No. Just like when they lied and said that he owned the Nets. He owned like 0.01% of that shit. Which means what? He was the face, the soft shoe, the shill. Like most Negroes, that's what they're there to do. He is talking about reforming prisons, I'm talking about abolishing them. What's up with that?
Right.
I'm talking about if you done legalize marijuana in almost every state in the union, why is it that almost 60% of the niggas still serving time for marijuana is melanated? How is it now that you gonna let the white man make all the money from the marijuana, but the niggas now that it's legal, you still keep them in there? What are you doing about that? Nothing. Nothing. You're just gonna open up your own dispensary.
Profit.
Who's gonna buy Jay-Z weed? Come on, man.
Profit.
Come on, man. I get Cypress Hill weed. Let me get it from a rapper I at least no smoke. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Let's keep this shit real. It's chess, not checkers, man. And we don't have no friends. Our friends is the people that's listening. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the ones that ain't here no more. You know what I'm saying? The ones that the real Panthers, to me, Bunchy Carter, Frederick Hampton. You know what I'm saying? That's
right.
it.
Right.
Everybody else, you know what I'm saying? Suspect.
So like even like
Everybody.
when it comes to let me ask you a question, like when it comes to celebrity and you know, celebrity definitely have its influence. You see, like we just spoke about the Meek Mill situation with reform. And you know, you had like a situation in the news about a couple of years ago with the whole Kenneka Jenkins situation. And like, you know, further going on, a lot more research, a lot more things have came out since then. And what we know, a lot of people would say that, you know, reason that she was inside of that freeze is because of organ harvesting. And like even on this episode, you spoke on organ harvesting earlier. Can you speak on like how, you know, related to Chicago organ harvesting is?
Yes. Unfortunately, it's they've clocked it up to about $38 billion per year. They're just making off of that. But you have to understand that bodies with pheomelanin, PHEO melanin, have no value on the market. Meaning white bodies have no value on the market. Asian bodies have no value on the market. The bodies that do are the ones that have heavy melanin concentrate. They also, the Chinese found back in the 80s, there was a group in China called the Falun Gong. And the Falun Gong were a group of Tai Chiists, basically. And they developed a form of Tai Chi that they would just meet up in the morning. This is all they did. They didn't have no group or nothing. They would just meet up in the morning and they would do Tai Chi. That's all they would do. And eventually, you had thousands of people just waking up in the morning doing Tai Chi together. Well, the Chinese government, which is communist, which is atheist, which is satanic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Decided that these people were a threat to the state, and they started to round them up. And they rounded up so many of them that they started to lose money in terms of places to put them. So one general had the bright idea to start organ harvesting them and then using their organs, because they found that the Falun Gongs, the people who were practicing Falun Gong, when they would look at their organs, even though they weren't melanated or Chinese, they had a certain chemical balance in it that seemed to be more healthy than the people in China that weren't doing it. And this is why you don't hear about the Falun Gong no more. Because they done basically, so went from the Falun Gong they doing that to, now they started doing that to the Uyghur Muslims, because there's a heavy Muslim community in China. So many, in fact, that they got their own temples, they own. Now these are the old ones descended from the old Moors that was in ancient China. Okay? A lot of them are. And when it came out that this is what the Chinese was doing, it was a big thing in the Muslim world. And so the Chinese went and met King Salman, right, who is the psychopathic genocidal maniac who's running Saudi Arabia now, who had his whole family basically arrested on behalf of the United States, and he also is a Jew, and he's the one that's working to break Saudi Arabia up into 3 different parts. he's the one that just allowed the Jews to come to Mecca. He's also the one that's pioneering and championing the Pope's initiative to merge Christianity and Islam together into one religion called Chrislam. Okay? And so this guy, Salvas, said, when they brought it up and said, well, the Chinese can do what they want to those Muslims because that's their government and we can't come out and say nothing. So now, this is why I know I ain't no Muslim. You know what I'm saying? Even though Allah is God and I'm Islamic and a Muslim. This is why the Prophet said that we Muslims, because he didn't want us to be localized with the rest of this vermin out here posing as sheiks and posing as imams and all that. Because these wild white Arabs is the same as the ones that you see that's posing as $5 Indians and all of that today. Kenneka Jenkins, now the thing with that is, the research I was doing is that body that they found was not even Kenneka Jenkins. That was a sister named Antonia L. Evans. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually her body. And Antonia was buried under the Kenneka Jenkins name because Kenneka is actually walking around here somewhere because she's connected to them people. Look up all the human trafficking arrests in a lot of these urban cities. You will see more black people than white people. Because the prophet said, if you're not, yes, man. Because the prophet said, if you're not careful, it'll be your own brother that puts you back into slavery. And that's what these niggas is doing. So this organ harvester shit, this has been going on in Crown Heights. They just busted all of these Jews in the Crown Heights area for doing that. They created They created a perpetual organ harvester thing where these Jews is doing that. And a lot of these rackets is being run by CIA, Mossad, you know what I'm saying? Pakistani ISS, MI5, or the U.S. clandestine services. That's who controls the organ harvester thing. And then who provides them cover, right? When they go and do that, is the military. Because the military bases are all over the world. And they're private. So this is where they transfer the children back and forth when they take them. This all, believe it or not, if you notice, all of this stuff started happening after 9/11. Because the human trafficking thing, the right to go into other countries, is in the Patriot Act. It's in the Patriot Act that says that they have the right to go into other countries they suspect is being on some bullshit and taking whatever assets is necessary for the facilitation or for the protection of the greater United States. So if that means that they need to go into this country because they need 54 children to fulfill this ritual for the ninth circle, then they're going to do that. And there's a document, the Patriot Act, that gives them the legal right to make that happen. Because that is also based on an earlier doctrine called the Monroe Doctrine, going back to President Monroe. So again, this is the world we in.
Right.
Half of our people is down with the fucking slavery. The other half of our people don't believe that it's no slavery. And the other half of our people know what it is, and we just doing shit like this with each other, trying to protect ourselves from everybody else. Because the original man and woman are the only species on the planet that are preyed on by every other race on the planet, including their own. We are the only people that went through a forced occupation and came out as something else. But everybody else that went into their occupation came out what they was. The Chinese invaded Japan. It didn't. After the Chinese left, they were still Japanese. When the Germans when the United States invaded Germany and left, they were still German. And they never use the word white on white war or white on white crime when they kill each other, do they? But when it come to us, same thing. When the Boers fought the Zulus, right? Apartheid came after that, but the Zulus were still Zulus, wasn't they?
Right.
When the Moors of America went against Rome in 1492, right? After that conflict that lasted from 1492 1792 all the way up to 1871, when they came out of it, what was they called? Negro, black, colored, Indian, right? And by that time, somebody else was being called Moroccan, right?
Yeah.
So again, don't let these people think that in order for you to be a Muslim, you need to learn and speak Arabic and all of that. Because your prophet came to you in the language that he was supposed to come.
Right.
Don't never let no Arab, don't never let no Christian. You understand? The first Christian church in America was founded by Moors in 3 AD in Casacamacumet Bay by the monastic Moroccan Brotherhood of Moors of Carthage. It's still there. The oldest mosque in the Western Hemisphere is the Alamo, built by the Almohad Moors right there in Texas. So you mean to tell me that the earliest mosque was built in Texas, and the earliest Christian church was built in Massachusetts, and they both was built by Moors, and ain't nobody talking about this? No, because you got other niggas taking the credit. And this is the problem, because they've all made oaths and taken agreements and agreed to jerk each other off, literally, and have sex with each other, literally, to maintain the secret, to make sure you Moors don't get nothing back. That you are always under the jurisdiction of an African. That your DNA is always predicated on what somebody else's DNA is. We the only people in the world they do this to.
Now
everybody do it to us.
Let me ask
Africans.
Go ahead.
No, the Africans, the Spanish, everybody, even the uppity Negro blacks, the ones that's born here, but then feel like they better because they done been to Harvard or Yale, or now they working for LGBT rights or whatever else. Because that's the thing. Black rights and gay rights, they done merged together. So if you down for black people, you got to be down for gay people. Because I told you that parasites, they graft on anything to you. So now it's more about James Baldwin being gay than him being a great writer. You understand?
Right.
That's what they do. And you know who's letting them do it? Black folk. Your celebrities, your leaders. Al Sharpton was known. It's a fact. Go online and Google it. You can write and get it from the FBI that he is a compromised informant, that they used him in a drug deal to blackmail Giancana, one of them niggas.
Right. I seen that.
It's a known fact that the United States was found guilty and complicit in the assassination of Martin Luther King. That he did not die on the balcony. That back they made it to the hospital room, and in the hospital room, 3 white Master Freemason doctors came in the room. They all hocked up and spit on him and let him die. That's what happened.
Right.
And again, the United States was known. They have been found guilty in the assassination of him. So you mean to tell me he the only one they hit? And you mean to tell me niggas are still talking about being nonviolent?
Right.
You mean to tell me niggas love everything, niggas hate everything about slavery except Christianity. That's how you know they crazy. They crazy. And any nigga coming to you, and I'm using the term nigga because that's what, excuse me, maybe I should use the term nakers, right? Y'all let the white bitch go with that, right? We nakers now. Y'all let her get off with that. So don't come at Aseer the Duke of Tears. Oh, he hate black people. He don't know. No. Go at that chick. Go at Rush Limbaugh. Go at these other people because they always quick to come at Moore. But I tell you this: if a Moore don't know, don't nobody know.
Right.
Nobody know if a Moore don't know. Half the information, y'all niggas, the world would still be in the dark ages if it wasn't for us. So how is it that we could bring humanity out of the dark ages? But then we can enslave them at the same time. That's how you know these niggas. That's why they kill them 3 a week, Mo. Let me
keep you here real quick. Like now when we talking about the organ harvesting with Kenneka Jenkins, like far as like Chicago, why would they be targeting a city like Chicago,
Because Chicago is where the temple was founded. and that's where the Divine and National Movement, which is the Divine and National Movement of the Moorish Zion Temple of America, is the Moorish Empire. So the whole empire is consolidated in the Divine and National Movement, and that was established firmly in Chicago. And when it happened, there was a mayor at the time named Mayor Anton Shermaka, just back in the 20s. So remember, this is Chicago now when the Prophet did. The Prophet was there when Al Capone was there, when Prohibition was there. Think about it, Mo. Al Capone was there at the time. Prohibition was at the time. Was going on. They was just about to get into World War I. Like, this was the roaring 20s, okay? The Prophet and the mob of them niggas, they was under the Prophet because, okay, going back to World War I with Turkey and them, right? The Turks and them during the Crimean War was all black. After the Crimean War, which was the first mechanized war in history, modern history, the Europeans decided that they needed to break, in order for Britain and them to really rule, they need to get rid of Turkey. So what they decided to do was supplant the ruler of Turkey with what they call the Ataturk. This is now a nigga from Greece, a white man from Greece that they're going to make Turkish and make him the head. And then when he becomes the head, they're going to use him to break up the nation. Okay? So the Ataturk winds up coming in, and right when he came in, they said, well, we're going to adopt the Fez. So they brought all these Fezes from Morocco and Tunisia between 1881 and 1903. And so the Fez became the national headdress of this Turkey. So the Turks who was in Turkey think that they was going back to the old Ottoman Moorish Empire. But the Ataturk, by the end, then abolishes the Fez, then abolishes the nationalistic aspect of Turkey and brings it into a more European white version of Turkey, okay? Mm-hmm. And now all of the Moors, the blacks that was running shit, they now get to be redesignated now as Afro-Turks. And their original dialect, the ones that speak it, they get killed off. Then a lot of those escape into Iraq and Iran, and they become part of another group of old Moorish custom called the Kurds, the Kurdish people. These were all Asiatics at one time too. And they worship a black god. In Egypt, he was called Amun, but the Kurds refer to him as Malik Tos. He's blue, and he's got peacock feathers with flame in his head. That's another version of Amun, but for this word, Malik and Malik is the same word. So Malik Tos is this god they call him a peacock king. That's why the Arab Muslims hate the Kurdish people and try to exterminate them because they're more connected to us. Anyway, when the Ataturk did that, the young Turks that was in Turkey, Turkey at the time, rebelled. And so if they saw you with a Fez at this time in Turkey, they shoot you. So what the young Turks started doing was wearing the derby. You know what the derby is, right? It's not the top hat. It's like a small top hat that Al Capone and them would wear. Come out the little short hats, not the big ones, but the short round. They got a round top and they're kind of small.
Right.
Just type in a derby.
Derby
hat. You'll see what I'm talking about. You've seen them in every mob movie, especially ones with components. These hats that these mobsters always wear. They're these small little, almost look like little cups, and they got a little that the brim turns up. Anyway, those derbies became the symbol of the Fez. So they got the round on it is the symbol of that Fez. Right? So the Fez, the derby became the symbol of the Fez. So everybody that was connected to the old Moors would wear the derby in respect. That's why you see the mobsters, the Sicilian mobsters wearing the derby. Because to be a Sicilian mobster, you got to be a La Familia. They got to trace your lineage all the way back to the first woman that slept with that first white woman that slept with that first Moor. That's what allowed you to be made and become a Don in the family.
Right. They
got to trace you back to the original Moors. Okay? And that's facts. That's why the Italians always want to be Sicilian. You see what I'm saying? So, long story short, all of that shit happened. The Fez, they apply the derby logic over here. Now you see all of the descendants, the Italians that's dealing with that or whatever, wearing the derby during that time. So at that time, Anton Schermecker was cool with Al Capone, and he was cool with the Prophet. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was only when Capone started extracting money from the Jewish population that the Jews in Chicago at the time, right, started to call in help from the FBI. And that's when he became thing, and that's when they sick Elliot Ness on him and everything else. So at the same time, they trying to neutralize him, they trying to neutralize the Prophet. So they tell Anton Schermecker, the mayor of Chicago at the time, look, if you don't let that Moore file nothing. Anton Schermecker, though, being a Hungarian Jew, knew his position and had allegiance to the Prophet. This is a white man. And said, no, I can't stop him from doing that, and allowed him to file the proper paperwork that reestablished the Vasa State and the Morrison Temple of America and the Divine and National Movement, and create the perpetual way for us to get back all our shit. Because the Federal Reserve branch out of Chicago is listed as G. The Masonic branch, the Masonic symbol has a G on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. When you become a Moor and you correct your nationality, at least up until this year, when you would get your new Social Security back, the number on the back, which is the routing number, starts with a G. Because that's where the Vasa State Trust was founded at. Right?
Right.
In old Morocco. Because Illinois was also called what? Southern Egypt. Right? Because the Mississippi and all that go right up there. Right?
Right.
Because that's Egypt. So in the middle of the country is where it sits. And that's where the Prophet established everything. And that's where everything popped off. So Anton Schermecker, they wound up popping him out here in Florida right after he met President Eisenhower. He walked up the stairs and he shook President Eisenhower's hand, and some dude came right up in front of the president and shot this nigga twice in the head. Another dude named Harold Washington tried to come and do more stuff for the Moore Science Temple. They assassinated him in Chicago. Another guy who was with John F. Kennedy, another a Moore. This dude's name was Whitney Moore Young. Look him up.
Yeah.
He used to be with Kennedy and all that. Whitney Moore. He was a Moore. His father was in the temple. Like his
and you prefer it to like they got the school named after Whitney Young.
Whitney Moore Young. Yes,
Yeah.
that's him. Yes, they killed him too. Because he was connected to the Moors, and he was trying to put people on, and they don't want you to know nothing about no.
You know
real
what's
Moor
crazy?
history.
That his school, like I'm from Chicago, and like his school is like, as far as education wise, like when I was growing up, was like one of the top
best.
schools, in the whole city of
Because
Chicago.
he was down with Kennedy. Because he was one of the niggas that helped Kennedy get in, because Kennedy was cool with him through the Irish thing. But remember, the Irish was under the jurisdiction of the Moors too, remember?
Right.
Get a book, y'all, called How the Irish Became White. Get another book called Wild Indians, called Wild Frenchmen, called Wild Irishmen and Frenchified Indians. Get these books. Get another book called The End of Iberian Rule in America. Get another book called Diplomatic Relations of the United States and the Barbary Powers. Get another book called Golden Trade of the Moor. Get another book called Othello's Children in the New World. Get another book called The Origins of Humankind by Churchwood. Get another book called The Moors in Spain, Stanley Lane Poole. The Moors After Spain, Stanley Lane Poole. When Nations Gather by Sultan Abdul Latif. 12 Secrets of the Caucasus by Assad Bey. Get these books, man, because these books been here. I used to have to literally steal these books more from libraries. I used to, like, niggas would go boosting for clothes. We used to go boosting for books. Go to college libraries, all types of shit. When these niggas was out clubbing, when everybody was out clubbing and drinking and smoking and trying to fuck bitches and all of that, I'm reading. I'm trying to figure out how to get this stuff straight. To the point where I felt like I was literally going crazy. And then I just put all the books down and realized that sometime in order for you to get educated, you got to stop reading. You got to stop reading and comprehend what the fuck you're dealing with.
Absolutely.
And so this is what happened. So they have murdered mayors. This is a perpetual secret that's now open. See, when you're not a part of anything, you could be down with everything. So we Moorish Americans, so me, I see Moorish science in everything. I see everybody's a Moor to me. That's until they say they not. And if you say you not, then what you're telling me is that you're not somebody that practices love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, or equality. So I don't need to be around you no way. So you're doing me a favor for not being this. Because what you're doing is showing me exactly who you are and by which whom you descend. You understand?
Yeah. And how did they say that? How did the Irish become white?
Yeah, get that book.
How did the Irish become white?
By locking you niggas up through the police force. That's how they did it. They found a place to become powerful in the city government, and that city government shit came from the bounty hunter stuff. And I told you where that came from. So all of this is about tagging and bagging original men because we are the inheritors of not only this land, but in every land. We are the indigenous men and women of every land mass on the planet. We didn't come out of the Africans. The Africans and everybody came out of us. You understand?
Right.
I am not African by descent. Excuse me, I'm not African by descent or nativity. That's like my cousin. Just like I'm not European by descent or nativity, but I will have some of that DNA in me. But the European DNA that you see in me ain't coming from no white man. Ain't no white man, no recessive gene can ever supplant a dominant, period. Unless the dominant reduces and makes itself recessive, which is what they've done to the black man and black woman. So keep wearing dresses. Keep sending your son to drag queen story time hour. Keep sending your children to school where they get their locks cut. Keep sending them to these crackers and everybody else to abuse them and wonder why they come home as slaves. Keep doing that. When all you got to do is what Malcolm and everybody else said, do for self. Stop being an integrationist. Stop acting like you got to take everybody else's consideration in before your own. That's a mob Roman mentality, and we are Carthaginians. We are Moors. We got our own language. Proconium alut, tilisum alut laudis. That means all praise is due to Allah. And also confederate Americum magnum pax at more, which means, again, we are the magnificent people they refer to as the Moors. And we will always be that. So you can hate, so y'all niggas can keep hating from the sidelines. We're going to keep working on solution-based material. And y'all can keep going to these lectures from these collaborators and these traders that basically is fattening you up for the camp or whatever else they got for their Negro slaves. The rest of us is going to be here. And when the boots do hit the ground from these foreign troops, and when we start flying our red Moorish flags from our crib, that's the same red blood of the lamb that you read about in the Bible when the spirit of death was coming, and they had to put the blood of the lamb on the joint. Coming on right now. Closing it up. Put the blood of the lamb on the door, like it says in the Bible, and the spirit of death would pass over. That red flag represents the red blood of the Moors. So when you put that red flag up, that's exactly the same instance, because we are the ancient Hebrews. We are the original Muslims. We are the original Egyptians. We are that because we're the only ones maintaining the ancient custom today without any European or foreign influence. Praise Allah. So until then, if anybody want to holler at me, hit me up at houseofl@hotmail.com for individual consultations or whatever. Please check me out on YouTube. You can go to Aseer the Dupateers on YouTube. It's mad stuff on there. If you go to Blog Talk Radio, you can check Super Heru Radio. You can listen to the classes from the last 7 years we did before we stopped the show. If you hit me up on Facebook, I'm Aseer Ali Cordoba, but they ban me like every month, especially when I go in. So I went on the Epstein thing and the Harvey Weinstein thing. I did a documentary, a DVD called The Breakaway Society, and I talked about how a lot of these Freemasons are actually castrados, meaning that they had their testicles cut. Some of these niggas got testicles and artificial vaginas put in. Well, the chick from the Harvey Weinstein thing proved me right, and she said that he actually has a penis and with no testicles. So look that up. Go check that out and see what I'm saying. And and it ain't just him. It's a lot of them, black ones too, that's walking around with all that shit the same way. and they want to tell you how to be a man or a woman because they worship a dirty god named Aseer, who will call the Statue of Liberty, and that's a castrated transvestite god. So if you down with that, that's the Roman shit you down with. Stay away from me. Stay away from the Moors. You definitely cloud chasing, and we're definitely gonna blow you up. Oh, and lastly, please check out CordobaOrganics.com. Anybody that has any type of skin ailments, skin splints, or anything like that, it's the only Moorish American, 100% owned, 100% organic, no artificial thing on the market, which is why you probably never heard of it. They rather you work for Carol's daughter and put all that mineral and shit that's going to give you cancer in a couple of years. And again, Carol's daughter was bought by who? Jay-Z. So it all comes full circle. You know what I'm saying? All right.
Absolutely. Hey man, we appreciate you, brother, for tapping in, man. Like I told the people, hopefully we can do this often. We just did it back to back, so we're gonna let y'all, marinate on all this information. We're gonna see if we're gonna tap in with the brother in about a month or so and get back to it, man. But we definitely appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you, brother. Again, thank you again for having me on. Big up to Cosmology Bay. Big up to the Sultanate, the Almanacanos Estados. Big up to all of the Moors, all of the Asiatics, everybody in the Moorish Temple of America, everybody in the Divine and National Movement, all the Moors that are declared, all the Moors that are not declared, all of the ancestors that left, all the ancestors that's coming. We got to support the fighters. Even if you may not agree with what the Moors doing, big up to any Moors that's putting work in on this cracker, whether right or wrong. All right? Islam.
Love.
All right.
Look forward to seeing you later.
All right.
All right, brother.
Salute, brother.
Islam.
Yeah, people. So like I told y'all, man, remember when I told y'all had to wait a few minutes, man, when we was getting ready for the episode to come up? As y'all can see, man, that was a lot of information there, man. Very powerful. Like people were saying in the comments, don't just take what he says as the truth, write it down and go do your own research. You know what I mean? That right there help you, because the thing is, what someone asked me a question, about this whole Gayle King situation and how Gayle King, and I just told him it's all about propaganda. It's the same people that's trying to turn people against the black man. But at the end of the day, they were saying, so what do we do moving forward? And what my answer was? My answer was, we need to reteach. So in order to reteach, we have to have moments like this. We have to, even though we do a lot of stuff on this channel, man, for sure. But we have to have moments like this in order to reteach, because a lot of this history is painted wrong. Once you start to write this stuff down, like I said, and then you go do your own research, you'll see that some of these things are, if not all of them, are very, very true. But we're going to leave that up to you. You know what I mean? But, man, we definitely appreciate you, man. All the new subscribers, we definitely appreciate y'all. Everybody who been staying down with us since we, first got in the game, man, on interview 1. You know how the interviews have, build up momentum, how the channel is doing a lot better. So we definitely appreciate everyone who stays in tune, man. I don't want to keep you for long. I'm gonna chop out that first 20 minutes. So in about an hour or so, the video go in and it just go in. So that little gap that we had when we first was coming in with the technical difficulties, we won't have that on the actual episode. Okay, and yeah, you say the likes. We got 58 likes, people. Like, if y'all like this type of content, you feel me? Like, we need 100 likes, man. We need 100 likes. We got 100 people in the building. And I know for a fact we had a few hundred people when came in the building and left out, came in, left out, came in. So if we can do any type of, like, I'm not asking for donations. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know the behind the scene works that happens with these different type of interviews. Shout out Cosmology Bay. You don't know what type of research that goes on. But at the end of the day, if y'all can just hit that like so that the message can at least get to, everyone involved, like meaning that People who need to hear this message, they get the message. That's how they get the message. That's part of the algorithm. You know, if y'all don't know, the algorithm means that if people are constantly hitting likes, even if you hit the dislike, you know what I mean? That's cool too. Just hit something, comment on this video, you know, and share it, of course. That type of stuff helps the message get out, man. I know y'all want this message to get out there, man. Just took the platform to a next level. Salute, man. Salute. Mo, salute, Mo, salute. Right or wrong. Your research. Yep. We woke, we litty in the ear, no doubt, man. I appreciate y'all. Like I said, everybody that's subscribing, I appreciate y'all, man. Continue to subscribe, man. We gonna continue having messages like this. Like I said, we probably won't have brother Duke of Tears, Aseer Duke of Tears back on until maybe a month from now. But we probably have someone else in his place in regards to, you know, saying this knowledge and, you know, getting it out to the general public, man. Different things of that nature, man. Because like I said, at the end of the day, I ain't gonna lie to you. They got agendas, and so do we. They got agendas, so do we. They got agendas, so do we. Just keep that in mind. You know what I'm talking about? Always remember that when you coming over here watching Death for the Cloud Chaser. Just know that they got agendas, so do we. Okay? Salute, man. Power, peace. Salute everybody. If it offended you, man, yeah, it's probably some people probably was offended by this episode. But here's the thing, man. It's a lot of things that's out there that's not for everybody. And all you gotta do is just keep on passing. Like, yo, this ain't for me. Let me get up out of here. Cause I watch things, Netflix, for example. If I put on Netflix right now and I go to the movie section where I like, you know what I'm saying, different crime and drama movies, they got stuff that don't even speak English. You know what I mean? And I'm English speaking person. So at the end of the day, I know, damn, this movie ain't right. Let me get up out of here. So keep that in mind too, people. Don't let things offend you like that, man. Just get up out of there. You hear me? Salute, man. Peace and blessings.